Jack Ebling with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph-of-Okemos. Matt, you got some terrific incentives coming up.
That's right, Jack. We got some awesome holiday news for you. If you're looking for a Nissan, come check out the Pathfinder and Murano, both offering 0% financing. If you want to take a look at a Chevy, we have our red tag sale going on. Our top 3 sellers, 0% on the Equinox, Silverado, and Trailblazer. Come on and take a look.
Sounds like a great Christmas present for you. Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph-of-Okemos. They're making friends.
We want to stay right here, Rob, and welcome in Dr. John Braccio, drjohnb.com, Regional Psychological Services, a guy who has followed sports in the state of Michigan closer than anybody who now lives in Miami for much of the year. And I saw it's 86 degrees in Fort Lauderdale, probably like that today. John, I can't tell you how jealous I am.
Well, listen, but you're right there in the heart of Spartan land. How does that sound? So, boy, there's a trade-off, and that's a great place to be, particularly with what's going on these days at MSU.
Yeah, I have to ask you about the psychology of this past week. First of all, Pat Fitzgerald coming in, and you'd think suddenly that they've won 6 games. They haven't. But for the fan attitude is totally different from what it was. They were just, a ship, a sea, stranded out in the water with Jonathan Smith. And now there's hope. And then with this $401 million gift from Greg and Dawn Williams, John, I'm not in your tax bracket, but you're not in Greg and Dawn Williams' bracket. And for them to give that amount of money to Michigan State Athletics without saying, it's going to be Greg and Dawn Williams Arena or Acrisure Stadium or something like that, that's pretty rare.
Well, I would say that I can't quite imagine a week quite like this, Jack, and at least the history I can think of, maybe almost anywhere, not just Michigan State. And I do think the thing with Coach Fitz, he's an amazingly successful person. For a guy who's just, 52? For a guy to be in a Hall of Fame, and you start 51. Looking at all the awards, the successes that he has had, even things that you mentioned, he's won 6 times at Kinnick Stadium. 10-4 against Illinois. He beat Antonio 5 times. This is Northwestern. And so when you think about it, he's a pickup. Then you look at $401 million. My first question, golly, why not 402? But where 401 comes from? But that's kind of amazing. So I think that's good. I think there's also another positive thing. I think that the way that Coach Smith left, I think people realize he's an amazing guy, a wonderful person. He's tried to do everything he can do. It just didn't quite work. It doesn't make him bad, or he's not going to be enormously successful somewhere. And I think that there was nobody attacking him. The new coach talks to him. People spoke highly. And I really honestly have never heard a negative thing about him as a person. So that's also a nice thing about the way that last week worked. I think maybe less so, but people think also the way Coach Rossi, certainly an exciting guy in the sidelines. I think people felt good about that. So I think there's some. Then you hear about Courtney Hawkins and James. So you hear some good things going on. So I think it's been a good week, and basketball too. A tough loss to Duke, but a lot of things to learn from that. So basically, I think this has been a week that I can't think of anything quite like this week. Maybe anywhere, Jack. You're the savant when it comes to sports. But can you quite imagine all this kind of go from hopelessness to all of a sudden there you are at the Golden Gate, the pearly at the gate, the Golden Walk. Golly, you're ready to walk in. So I think things are positive, and I do think no one's expecting a Signetti next year for MSU, like Indiana said a few. So I think things are kind of settling down, and didn't need helium in my shoes to be flying around in the air, So it's been, I think, buoyant, exciting time, and I'm not sure that our good friends down the road, east of us a little bit, will be too happy with him coming. So, I think it's going to be, and I did like the way he came out there. They had John, of course, has been in the Iowa game going out there. He was there at the Duke game. He's there with Ismia. Yes. I mean, he's at the hockey game. I mean, he seems to be everywhere. There's like 20 of them floating around.
That's right.
So I like that, shaking hands, a good, in a positive way, a good stereotypic Irish guy. He definitely fits out there. So we'll get him with Rossi, a good paisano, and that should be a good duo. Maybe they both could cook too. That would be a fun thing too. So we'll see what happens here.
John, when you think about Fitz and Izzo working together to raise money or appeal to alums to get them unified, and not saying that Pat Fitzgerald is going to have the success that Tom Izzo's had, although I do predict that by the time he leaves Michigan State, he will be the winningest coach in Big Ten history. He has 110 victories now, which would be like 220 in Columbus. And I think he's going to go blowing by Barry Alvarez and Bo Schembechler and Amos Alonzo Stagg, Woody Hayes, and he's going to catch Kirk Ferentz before he's done, because he's only 51 years old. And if he stays another 17 years, and you can add, let's say, 8 wins a season, you can do the math there, but you add that to the 110, and suddenly he's up there close to 250 for wins at a Big Ten school. I have to ask you one thing about Notre Dame, John. And the Irish are used to kind of having things their own way. Now they get leapfrogged by Miami, a program you know well, and Hurricanes beat them head to head. So now it's Miami in the playoff and Notre Dame on the outside. They said, we're going to take our ball and go home. We're not going to play BYU or anybody else in the bowl game. Just going to go off and sulk. What did you make of that move that it would be Miami in, Notre Dame out, and then Notre Dame done for the season?
Well, Miami did beat them. I mean, it just happens to be true. And Notre Dame did lose 2 games. I mean, they lost 2 games to good teams. Okay, so and also, I'm maybe going to be the only one who's commenting, but I'm very disappointed for their fans and the players and everyone that they're not playing in a bowl. I mean, Michigan's going to playing Texas. I mean, I think BYU. I think that's not a good show. And you might be more upset at in terms of James Madison and Tulane. I mean, maybe in terms of looking at it, but and you also could complain about Alabama, but when you look at you can see why there was respect for the schedule that they had this year. But I can understand why Notre Dame is upset. But I did there was some logic to the fact that when BYU was lost, that then all of a sudden you had Miami and Notre Dame. You looked at all these sides; they were very similar, and you finally got down to the one data point there that really was that Miami beat them. Now, the fact you didn't have an ACC team, they said that wasn't a factor, but all I know is I think good for Miami, and I feel bad for Notre Dame. But I personally, I just think that the leaders there could have given everybody a very good bowl game. You don't have to be in that one game. And I think that Michigan-Texas game, I'm actually going to like that game. I'm going to watch it. Go Longhorns. I'll be doing my cheering on that in that game. So my view is I feel I can understand why Notre Dame's upset, but there is a reason it's logical that they're not in there, but they're really mad. I mean, they're kind of going overboard. Then they get some problem guaranteed that they've got something, Then I hear they're also mad at the ACC. I mean, they seem to be mad at everybody right now. So
you mentioned Michigan, and they have the number 1 ranked hockey team, despite the loss to Michigan State and despite a 6-1 loss to Wisconsin. Badgers do have a better record, and they're ahead of them in the Big Ten standings. But Michigan is number 1 in the hockey polls. Michigan is number 2 in the men's basketball poll, number 6 in the women's basketball poll. You can add those 3 together, and you have 9 as a total, the rankings for the 3 sports, and then you can double that total, and you still don't get to where they are in the football poll. If Michigan loses to Texas, John, this will be a 9-4 season with no marquee wins. And you can say this is 5 wins a year ago, 4 wins this year. That's an average of 4.5 losses per season the last 2 years under Sharon Moore. And that's a lot different than it was when Connor Stallions was patrolling the sidelines.
Well, Jack, again, it's hard for me, and I'm not fair, so you got to put that in the mix. But there's no question, knowing the signs, to say that Ted Williams would not have had a better batting average if he knew every. Well, it's just an absurdity. And another thing, John had the example: if you took a rose-colored knife and killed somebody, a football player, the NCAA say, well, we don't really have that. It's kind of a unique kind of a circumstance, so we're not going to say it affected the outcome of the game. I mean, food poisoned the football team. So I'm just saying, I think that nothing against Sharon Moore, but I mean, we'll see how he does overall. But the Big Ten really is so heavy at the top in football right now that it seems that winning 7, 8, 9 games, which I would like Michigan State to be doing, so I don't want to minimize it. But unless you really have some marquee wins over top teams, it doesn't really put you at the head of the class. So we'll have to see, what happens here in the next few years. But again, I'm never a fair person to ask about Michigan. But again, Connor Stallions, I mean, he's like I say, he's a famous one. And let's admit it, Harbaugh really was on his way out when all of a sudden he found that knowing the plays of all the other teams seemed to be helpful, even though the NCAA said there was no way to tell. They gave them a competitive advantage. I go back to my Ted Williams example, Jack, for those of us that remember Ted Williams, I might add.
Well, when I talk about COVID, John, COVID helped the golf industry because it allowed people to get outside and do something, and golf flourished as a result. And it helped Michigan football because not playing those 2 games against Iowa and Ohio State when they would have been obliterated, and they would have been 2-6, and who knows if Harbaugh would have withstood that. Maybe he wouldn't have. We know he couldn't get a job with the Minnesota Vikings, but who knows if Michigan would have pulled the plug on him. There's certainly a lot of people, a very short leash. He had to rework his contract and take less money as it was. And then
can I say one thing?
Sure.
I want to say one thing I really like about him, though. I like that fire and that competitiveness. I may not like the cheating, but by golly, have I wanted that the last few years. I think
you got it now.
And then John Harbaugh was just mad over the weekend. I thought, golly, it runs in that family, But so on the one hand, I do like this idea of if you're playing, it's like the Vince Lombardi thing. Whatever you're doing, if you're playing the game, you're playing it to win. Isn't that why you're out there? Or Woody Hayes, how many people will go Saturday to watch the band? And I love bands, by the way, but I do like the football game with it, I might add. So
I have another prediction for you,
exciting
John.
Times. Go ahead.
We talk about. I mentioned that I think that Pat Fitzgerald is going to leave Michigan State as the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history. I think John Harbaugh is going to be the next coach at the University of Michigan.
Really? That is really...
And I think it might happen sooner than later.
Well, he's a great coach. I mean, I actually like him, and he also has that same kind of a competitive fire. The funny thing is, they almost look alike. I mean, that would be a bit much for me to, for a psychologist. People with schizophrenics would say, I swear that's the same guy over there. They've just done a little plastic surgery on him or something. Listen, Jack, I can say you're always savant on not just sports, but just things that might happen. But that would be interesting. interesting. Nothing against Moore, but again, I must say, if John Harbaugh, I had not heard that at all. It's an interesting thought. He's probably only probably 6
years. Through my mind, I was talking to a couple of Michigan boosters. I know that Tom Crawford's thought about this, and some others have. And I just think that that's what'll happen when Sharon Moore has one more bad season. But I have to ask you one more question, John.
Sure.
About your beloved Detroit Lions, now going out to SoFi in L.A. to play against the red-hot Rams and Matthew Stafford. Stafford's been gone from Detroit a long time. The psychology changed to the point where the Lions are just another team, or do you think he's going to be so amped up with this that he could either have one of his best games or a subpar performance trying too hard to beat the team that he played with for so long?
I just think that he may love the Lions, but, if you're a competitor, and he's a competitor, he's going to want to win. He may love the other team, but, once that whistle blows, you're in there to win, and I hope so. I mean, I would hate to see him not trying to win, and I want the Lions to win. Don't even. I'm still upset about that San Francisco game 2 years ago. So you can see how I can stay mad about things. But I have a feeling he's going to give his most. I think he would rather the Lions win than the other one. But I think he's now an LA man. He's there. He may love the Lions. People love him here, and I'll always love him. I think he's just a great guy, but he definitely is going to, come to play. And I just wish him well, and he can just have a peaceful loss and just say, I tried my best. The Lions were just too good today. That's what I'd like to hear him say after the game. That's kind of what I want.
Game day in East Lansing just got tastier. One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to for unbeatable tailgate packages. Perfect for fueling up before kickoff. Sink your teeth into juicy burgers, hearty wraps, or warm up with our famous One North Chili, a fan favorite on crisp fall days by the Red Cedar. Ordering is a snap. Just call David at 517-900-4MSU to get your crew game ready. Open at 10 a.m. on weekends so you can grab your spread and go. One North Kitchen and Bar, where great food and Spartan spirit collide. Go green.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEANjobs.com.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Matt, you got some terrific incentives coming up.
That's right, Jack. We got some awesome holiday news for you. If you're looking for a Nissan, come check out the Pathfinder and Murano, both offering 0% financing. If you want to take a look at a Chevy, we have our red tag sale going on. Our top 3 sellers, 0% on the Equinox, Silverado, and Trailblazer. Come on and take a look.
Sounds like a great Christmas present for you. Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Cole Moore, the general manager for Michigan State football, to discuss revenue sharing, NIL, in the upcoming season. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
At Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, you are the heart of everything we do. And because we put our members first, you rated us #1 in customer satisfaction among Medicare Advantage plans in Michigan by J.D. Power. Blue Cross is committed to delivering reliable coverage, personal support, and easy access to quality care you deserve so you can feel confident every single day. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan and Blue Care Network are PPO, HMO, and HMO POS plans with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in these plans depends on contract renewal. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Heather is a nurse practitioner from United Healthcare.
We meet patients wherever they live.
During a house call, she found Jack had an issue.
Jack's blood pressure was dangerously high.
It was 217 over 110.
So they got Jack to the hospital and got him the help he needed.
He had had a stent placed in his heart, preventing a massive heart attack.
If it wasn't for my guardian angel, I wouldn't be here.
Hear more stories like Jack's at UnitedHealthcare.com. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan, area, limitation, and exclusions apply.